So yes, my Etsy shop is closed right now, but I do plan on opening back up. And the reason I closed was because I became extremely depressed and stressed, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. It was too much for me. I had to turn it off. All right, so if you follow me on Instagram and kind of just like keep up with everything I'm doing on the internet, you would know that I recently closed my Etsy shop. So I figured I should make a video addressing this. In case you're wondering, this black thing is my mic. So I think we should just start from the beginning. Well, I don't know if this would technically be the beginning. I think the beginning would probably be a long, long time ago. So if you want to hear like the entire story of kind of just like my whole background of how I got in this position I'm in my career, let me know. I'll do a whole video on it. I've kind of done a video on the topic in the past. It's titled How I Started My Business or something like that. I feel like I could do that video again better with more detail, especially since like here I am 3 years later after making that video. Anyways, okay, I got off topic there. I've been doing YouTube for a really long time. I think it's been about 6 years I've been doing YouTube. And I started my business like 2 or 3 years after I started YouTube. And of course, at first, I didn't make much money at all. If any, I don't even know if I really made a profit really at first. So it wasn't for a few years after doing my business that I started actually making a profit, and same with YouTube. And in order to get to that point, I basically had to work as much as I possibly could. It's not easy to grow a YouTube channel at all. You literally have to like live, laugh, love YouTube, because it's just, it has to take over your life really in order to become successful, unless you kind of have someone else that can give you a shout out or some kind of background already, like you're a celebrity or something. It's really hard to grow on YouTube. And really the only way you can is to give up your life to YouTube and dedicate all of your time to it. So for the past few years, since I started YouTube, that's what I've been doing. When I actually started YouTube, I had 3 jobs while doing YouTube. So even before I started my business, I was always working my butt off. Not only that, but in order to grow a business, you have to live, laugh, love your business 24/7. Always constantly thinking about your business 24/7, working on it as much as you possibly can. So basically for the past 4 or 5 years, I've just been YouTubing and businessing like 24/7. I've basically given up like the majority of my social life for work. Basically what I'm getting at is that I have been doing really nothing but working for the past, okay, I'm 27 now, and I think I really started this like grinding maybe when I was like 22, 21, somewhere around there. I was grinding even before that because like I said, I had 3 jobs when I first started YouTube. Like I've always been a workaholic. So even before I started all my self-employment journey, I was still working my butt off. Ever since I started self-employment, I've really been working my butt off because I couldn't even escape work because my work is at home. So I was constantly thinking about work, and not only that, but since social media is my job, my phone is even just ruined for me now. This is all work to me. So yeah, basically what I'm getting at is that I've been working a lot for the past at least 5 years of my life. In doing this, I have kind of like, I haven't lost friends. Like I still have all the same friends, but I think I've like lost bonds that I've had with people. I'm not as close with people. I have like a lot of weird like social anxiety issues that arose from it. I've basically have isolated myself for the past 5 years doing nothing but working. So kind of just like the way I like am like out in the like outside world is just kind of like different than what I used to be. And not only that, but this overworking brought a lot of like internal like mental issues as well. There are some personal things I don't want to talk about, but the main thing I want to talk about is, I hate using this word because I've never been like actually diagnosed with it, but like depression. Like I think I've always battled with that. I think we all have dealt with depression, you know, over time in our life. We'll have like a section of like 6 months we might be really depressed, then we're better for a few years, and we might get depressed for a month or so again. I think we all can relate with that. And ever since I've really started this self-employment journey, I've really had a lot of depressive episodes off and on, especially the past 2 years. So 2020 is really when my business and my YouTube channel like took off. That resulted in me having to work even more than I was before. My business and YouTube channel started taking over my house. I live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath trailer. If you're not from the United States, you might not know what a trailer is. They're also called mobile homes. They're just like a really long rectangular house that's on wheels. They're not like a fixed foundation, and they can be moved, but they're not easy to move. You have to like hire a company. It costs a lot of money to move, so it's not easy to move. That's why I don't really like calling them mobile homes. Most of us around here call them trailers, but they're really common in the United States. They're just really cheap, inexpensive houses. I bought this for $5,000 when I was 20, and I lived in it for, I'm turning 28 this year, so about like 8 years. So yeah, we outgrew it. My business literally took over half of the trailer. So we knew we needed to buy a house. But if you live in the United States, you know the housing market is horrible. Houses are at an all-time high. They're hard to find. As soon as one goes up, it sells for higher than listing price. They're just really difficult to find. Luckily, one of my friends I used to work with, she knew that me and my boyfriend were in the market for a house, and her boyfriend were selling their house. So I bought the house from her, but it was still really, really stressful. From October 2021 to December 2021, like just last year, I was extremely, extremely stressed out because we were in the middle of buying a house, and I had to deal with all of like the phone calls and stuff. So not only was I like having like record sales, I was also trying to do YouTube, my Patreon, and also trying to buy this house. So I got extremely, extremely stressed, and it really spiraled me into a really deep depression. But before I got into that deep depression, well, I was already like kind of depressed, but it wasn't like too intense, like it was manageable. My heat just turned on, so sorry if you hear that. What really triggered, I think, this depression episode is I got sick. So 2 weekends ago, we were going to move finally into the bigger house that we got because I needed to get out of this trailer because I think it was really triggering my depression even more. It was finally time to move, and my boyfriend got a really high fever. So we, of course, weren't able to move. Then the next day, I got a really high fever. Luckily, his only lasted 24 hours, but me, on the other hand, it decided to, well, the fever lasted like 3 days, but my sickness, I'm actually still sick. You could probably tell I'm like all clogged up, but I feel fine. I ended up being sick for over a week. It was ridiculous. Last weekend, we finally moved. I was still sick when we moved. Like I was horribly sick. Like every like 10 minutes, I just like laid down because I felt horrible. Yeah, so I'm still in the trailer. I don't know if you could tell, but I decided to keep the trailer as my workshop. So now the trailer is now getting remodeled, which is really, really stressful. Okay, back to the topic of me closing my Etsy shop and being depressed. Last week, I think it was, I was doing work while sick, of course, because the work needs done. Someone's got to do it, and I'm the only person to be able to do it. So I was working while I was sick, and I, of course, started crying again. I was all depressed, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to close my Etsy shop. And literally the night before that, I was complaining to my boyfriend, and I said to him, when did I start hating my job? And right after I said that, I'm like, something needs done. This isn't good. Because I'm supposed to love my job, and I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I actually really hated it. And I sat down and I thought about it, and I'm like, what part do I really specifically hate? And it was the business part. I loved it at one point, but I just got to the point where I hated it. Every time I was doing something business related, became really depressed. I would cry, and I'd have to do all the work while crying, and I just don't feel like that's good vibes, you know? I don't want to be sending out an order that I packed while crying. There's no good vibes there. And I noticed every week, all I did was my business work because that needed done. People paid for those items, so it had to get done. And I was rushing around trying to get that done to get to the YouTube part. And I can never have enough time for the YouTube part. So I was like, you know what? I got the power. I can do what I want. I just went on Etsy and turned my Etsy shop on vacation mode and decided to close it temporarily. I'm still working on orders. I still need to get those packed up. I decided to just close it for the time being because it was horrible for my mental health. I needed to turn it off and just regroup. And I really, really want to focus more on YouTube this year. That is my goal for the year, is to work on myself mentally and physically too, and grow my YouTube channel more. And just, actually, I don't even care about growing my YouTube channel more. I didn't mean that. I meant just focus on YouTube. If I stayed at where I'm at on YouTube right now, I'm totally happy with that. But I just want to create more content. I love creating YouTube videos. I've been doing it for 6 years now, and I don't think I've ever once hated it at all. And I feel really bad for everybody who buys wholesale, private label, or bulk from me. Like, I totally see you guys, and I'm well aware that I am screwing you guys over right now, because now everything you guys buy from me is out of stock with your business. And I'm well aware of that. And that's why I didn't want to close my shop, because this isn't the first time I wanted to close my shop out of stress and depression. But this time it was just too much for me. I had to turn it off. And I feel really bad for you guys. And I really hope you can forgive me. And I hope we can work through this inconvenience for now. I'll be back at some point, but I just need some time. I originally planned on opening back up at the beginning of February. But now that I'm seeing how much work my workshop needs done, I think I need at least until March. I also have just other things behind the scenes I want to do with my business when I launch again. I kind of want to like revisit each of my products and sort of like tinker with those formulations if they need them. I just want to open back up the right way instead of rushing to do it. So yes, my Etsy shop is closed right now, but I do plan on opening back up. And the reason I closed was because I became extremely depressed and stressed, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. It was too much for me. I had to turn it off. So for now, I'm just focusing on YouTube, and I figured that I should make this updated video for you guys so you guys know what's going on. Kind of like a lesson I want to, want you guys to get out of this video. The first thing is that I know a lot of you guys are probably trying to start your own business or your own YouTube channel. I know a lot of my viewers want to do what I do because that's the kind of content I create, like how to do what I do. But you kind of have to give up a lot of yourself in order to become successful, I think. I hate saying this because I don't think it's true for everybody. I think some people just get lucky. Like they might make 1 or 2 TikToks and they'll blow up, or even a YouTube video and they'll blow up. Not really with YouTube. It's hard to blow up on YouTube. But for the average Joe, if you're making a business or you're creating a YouTube channel or really anything on social media, you have to hustle like hardcore. And hustle culture is really, really toxic. And I do think that I have contributed to hustle culture through my YouTube videos, because I think a lot of people come to my YouTube channel for inspiration to, just get up and work. And I do think that's good. I like that I inspire you guys, but I hope I never inspire you guys to a point where you put yourself in a situation that I'm in, to where you work yourself depressed or stressed. I'm not good with my words right now. I've had sick brain for the past couple weeks, so I can't really talk very well. But also at the same time, it's like the only way to really become successful nowadays on the internet, whether that be your business, YouTube, social media, whatever it may be, is to hustle. You have to like throw away all your personal things you're doing in life and just do nothing but work. And it's not healthy, but it's like the only way to really become successful. I don't know. Basically what I'm trying to say is like, take care of yourself. Don't overwork yourself, but also understand that you kind of do have to work a lot to get to a successful point. So if you ever see other people like being successful and doing what you want to do, first off, just remember that everything isn't always good in their life. They're only showing the positives because they pick and choose what they show on the internet. But also at the same time, they probably had to like destroy themselves to get to that point. Not everybody. Like I said, some people just get really lucky. But for the most part, most people had to work themselves to the bone to become to that successful point. Or they're privileged. That's also too. They could have came from money as well. I know I have a lot of privilege where I come from. I mean, I can make a whole video talking to you guys exactly where I started when I got my first job at 15 and a half and what helped me become to this successful point. I was privileged to be able to buy this really inexpensive trailer and live here with very minimal bills. Like our bills were less than like $400 a month if you don't include like food and stuff. So my boyfriend was able to take over those bills while I focused on my business and my YouTube channel. But I am very privileged to have that. And I know a lot of people don't have that. And that's why I hate to complain. That's why I hate to say like, oh, my job made me depressed. Oh, my job stresses me out, because I love my job. I'm so lucky and grateful to be where I am. But the truth is that I pushed myself way too hard. I overworked myself way too long. I love what I do, but I just need some time to kind of figure everything out and just feel back to my normal self again and just like, I don't know, hang out with friends, you know? So I think that's everything I have to say, I don't know. I just feel like I can't really think lately. I hope you guys are doing well. That's about it. Thanks so much for listening to me ramble. Go follow me on Instagram, because that is where I really like keep you guys up to date to all this stuff, because most of you guys probably already knew this stuff if you follow me on Instagram. When I'm in a good headspace, I post on there a lot. I love posting Instagram stories, but again, I only really do that when I'm in like a good headspace. And lately I haven't been, so I haven't been posting as much lately. But go follow me at TaraLee Skincare. All right, thanks so much for listening to me ramble. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks, bye.
In the motions, I've been consumed by the wrath of time, like I'm frozen. I'm shattered in this life, it's still the path that I've chosen. Because I've had a vision, now I'm on a mission to find myself with you.